Hi everyone, welcome to another workout video with me today, and today is another recovery video. And so we are going to focus on static stretching. And before I start on static stretching, there are 4 total different types of stretching that you maybe heard of. There we went over the foam rolling, which is SMR, and this is static stretching. Static stretching also you need a 30-second hold or more for the neurons the nerves, basically your nervous cells, to really receive this impulse and to relax the muscle. And the way it works is basically you have the opposing muscle, you have one muscle that works against the other, and then if you contract, basically if you work the opposite muscle, then the other muscle will be inhibited, which means it will be relaxed. And that's how it works. And it takes 30 seconds for your body to receive the signal, and that's why we want to hold in static stretching for at least 30 seconds. Okay, so and then after that we have active isolated stretching and dynamic stretching. Both active isolated stretching and dynamic stretching are not appropriate if you are tight or you sore. Those are great for warm-ups, but if you tend to have very sore tight muscles, or if you have significant form compensation issues in your exercise, then you may want to just stick with the static stretching or foam rolling. Or in some cases, you can always do foam rolling and static stretching first, then you can do the dynamic stretching and active isolated stretching. Both the active isolated stretching and dynamic stretching should be related to the workout that you're going to do. It will make no sense to do the upper body portion of those stretching and then you're going to do a lower body workout. So are you guys ready to get to our static stretching? So the first exercise we're going to do is to stretch the back calves. The back calves are a commonly very tight area for us because if you wear high heels as ladies, or if you sit down a lot, we're constantly doing this planted motion, and this will overuse our back calves. And for this reason, we want to do back calf stretch to kind of relax those muscles. And one of the things I like is you're gonna grab a wall. You want to make sure it's about your arm length, and then you're going to have the stretching calf behind the non-stretching calf. And then you're gonna make sure the important thing is it's not going outside, but you can slightly internally rotate it or straight. So you can slightly internally rotate it, and then you want to make sure the heels are always in contact with the ground. Otherwise, you're not stretching the calves. And then you want to just lean forward, and you want to kind of hinge the front leg at the knee area, and then you want to kind of just lean forward into the wall, and you can bend the arms slightly. And then you don't, more is not always better, which means you want to only stop at the first point where you sense the soreness or the tension. And you want to just stop there, because if you go further than that, it's going out of the normal range of motion for your muscle, and that can be bad as well. So let's just go to the first point of tension, and then we're just going to hold there for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And this is something great to do at the beginning of your stretching after SMR. But in general, you don't want to hold this for more than 2 minutes, because if you do more than 2 minutes, then you can overly relax the muscles, and that's not good. And you should only, so now it's about 30 seconds, we're gonna switch. Again, making sure you internally slightly rotate it, and then you're just gonna kind of lean into it. So again, you want to making sure that you only stretch the tight muscles. If you are stretching a weak muscle, then you are not doing yourself any service. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other calves. And that's the first one. It's called back calf stretch. And then another tight area for us is really the adductor area, because when we do squats, a lot of us tend to do a valgus knee or inward rotation of our knees. And that is because our adductors are stronger than our abductors. And so when you're at the gym, you probably have adductor machines or abductor machines. Those are not recommended to do for training. I actually recommend you use a rubber band instead to strengthen your abductors. because both those machines are, first of all, they're not natural motion, and at the same time, they can really cause more other issues in your body. So now, how do we stretch this? The way to do it, since they are more of a hip flexion, so they kind of flex your hips, so we want to make sure we want to do a little bit extension to kind of get the opposite motion. So the key is you want to, let's say our right leg is our stretching adductor, and so we're going to make sure the toe is there, so feet always parallel and straight, and we want to make sure the feet are wide, but comfortably wide apart, wider than shoulder width. And then the key is you want to make sure the heel of the front leg, the non-stretching leg, is in line with the toe of the stretching leg. And then you're going to have your hands on your hips and making sure your back and everything's neutral. And you're going to kind of hinge at the knee. You're going to hinge at the hip area. And then you're just going to kind of lean forward until making sure your back is straight the whole time. You're gonna lean forward until you feel the first point of tension. You don't want to do this. We want to make sure we hinge at the hip and we just kind of stop right at the first point of tension, and then we're just gonna hold there for about 30 seconds or so. And then after that, we're gonna switch to the other side. So we're gonna do this on the same side, and only do this exercise if your knee is pointing inward. If your knee is pointing outward, then do not do that. That means your adductors are weak. But again, avoid those machines at the gym because they are just gonna make things worse. So the third muscle I want to focus on is our hamstrings. So there are 4 muscles in our hamstring complex. There's the inner hamstring and there's outer hamstring. And most commonly, people like to probably stretch the hamstrings doing this. This is a good way to test how flexible you are, but it's not a good way to really stretch your hamstrings, especially in the case of outer hamstring. Oftentimes, when we do squat, when we do squat, we tend to have more of an issue with our outer hamstring, and the inner hamstring tend to be commonly weak. So how do we only target the outside hamstring? The way to do it is you want to make sure, again, your toes facing forward, point straight ahead, and the stretch. So let's say we want to stretch this one. We want to find a little step or box or bench, something stable. And then we're going to just kind of putting the stretching leg on this and the heels in contact, and then just flex the toe into the sky. And then make sure our hands is on your hip for balance, or no, don't do this. We want to make sure it's hands on your hips, and then we want to look straight ahead, and then you're just going to kind of slightly lean forward, and you should be able to feel a tension, and you're only on the outside of your back of your leg, and you want to hold it for 30 seconds, and then you can switch to the other side, and that way you're not weakening the muscles that you already weak anyways, and then we only want to kind of lengthen the muscles that we are tight on. So this is the next muscle, and the fourth muscle that I think we tend to have problem is our neck. So we sit on our desk all day and we tend to lean, looking into the computer or reading. So our neck is tight. And so that means both our front and back neck is tight. So the first one is we're gonna stretch the front neck. The front neck is here. It helps, and so the key important thing to do that is making sure you're not rotating your neck while you're doing the stretch. Because if you rotate the neck, then you're making it short, because the neck muscle helps you doing rotations. And so what we want to do is, let's say if we want to stretch the right side of our neck, then what do? We basically just tilt as far as we comfortably can to the left side. And then from there, you look up into the sky. You're not doing this, you're not looking over your shoulder. You look up into the sky. And then you just hold it for 30 seconds and then switch to the other side. And so that's how, but the key is making sure you're not rotating it, because you're rotating, you actually shorten the muscle. And so this is how we're gonna stretch the front of our neck, which is always tight because we're sitting all day, reading or doing something in front of the computer. And another muscle that's tight is our upper traps, and also basically our back neck. Our upper trap is here, so it's our back neck. The back neck is really tight because we tend to round our shoulders, and then the back of the neck kind of helps you doing this. And you will see that a lot of times people do squat, they tend to lean forward. And that is a sign that you have a tight back neck. So how do we stretch that muscle? To stretch that muscle, again, let's pretend we want to stretch on the right side. Then you're going to tilt as far as you can, and making sure, again, do not rotate, because rotation kind of makes it short. So as far as you can to the left side, to the opposite side that you want, the neck that you want to stretch. And then you want to use the same side of hand to reach as far as possible to the ground without any rotation, okay? And then you're just going to hold there for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna switch on the other side. Always make sure you do both sides. And the key is not to overstretch and not go, so you always wanna stop at the first point of tension. And if both the neck exercise are not comfortable to do, then I recommend you do not do them at all. But those are the 5 short muscles that everybody has, and that will be beneficial for all of us to spend 5 to 10 minutes every day to kind of stretch them. But it's highly recommended to always perform SMR before you do the static stretching. And so hopefully you guys find this helpful, and the next time we're going to share a delicious recipe video as always. And make sure to click the like button, comment, share, and see you guys next Sunday. Bye!